Hello everybody, this is an update video about this last year. It's a thank you video for to you guys for making a lot of things possible that have been going on, and also just an update of where we're going. So, you ready to join me for this ride? Yeah, so the video is primarily going to be really honestly talking to you about some of the very real ups and very real lows of the last year. And that's not in any way to complain or make you feel sorry for me. It's just to really help you appreciate the difference you make in supporting what I do and buying my music and coming to the gig and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I also feel it's important, and I've felt this right from the start it's important for me to be honest and tell you exactly what it's like, because you guys want to know what it's like being a musician. It's something that's not for everybody, because there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of missteps and failure, along with successes and really beautiful moments, and so honesty and me telling you what's going on is really important. So that's what this video is about. So last year, December 2023, marked 10 years since I quit my job. I had a proper job that was well paid, that I enjoyed most of the time, until a point where I didn't enjoy it at all, and I reached the point where my mental health kind of dictated, hey, I knew I wanted to do music, but I didn't have the time, and not having the time is the real the enemy of putting good music out, because good music takes loads of time. So I realized I needed to take a risk, quit my job, and go into music full time. I did that gradually. I didn't just quit my job, walk out. I cut back to 4 days, 3 days, and then I actually did walk out, and then here we are 10 years later. And so last year, really, when I got to December 2023, realizing I'd been at it 10 years and it was still really hard, I think represented a time where I was like, most people after 10 years in a job either quit or retrain. So I had to really honestly sit down and think, all right, we've had this success, we've put 3 albums out, it's been great, can I carry on doing this? And so I sat down with Dan and John, my co-writers, and they don't depend on music for an income. They both have good jobs, but I do. And I was just like, are you guys up for doing another 10 years of this? Because I want to put out a trilogy of albums based on the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. And that's going to take a number of years, and I can't do this without you guys. So are you guys in? And they said yes, and I was like, right, let's carry on then. Let's put another 10 years in. And that's just to really give you a really open and honest, not for you to be fearful, like, oh, I've invested all this emotional energy into what Dave does, he's going to walk away. No, it's not that, but just the reality of doing something for 10 years with the level of intensity that I've had to do it, and the level of work I've had to do, it's tough. And if I was my own boss, well, I am my own boss, but if I worked for a company, I had a boss, I'd probably quit if he'd made me work as hard as I work. I don't even know if that makes sense, but you get what I'm saying. So anyway, so that was last December. We crowdfunded the Fellowship album, which is going to be my 4th album, for £20,000. Amazing high. That was one of the real highs. I just felt like we could do anything with this amazing fan base, and it was super exciting. And so we got stuck into writing the album. We wrote the entire album, and in August we went into the studio and recorded the bass and drums, and I was like, right, I think I can get this album finished for December. But there was the small matter of the live gig. Now, as part of the crowdfunding, I one of the things you guys told me is you really wanted to see a live Dave Brons gig. And because of my experience of having toured before, and the bands I've toured in never made any money and actually made a huge loss, I was kind of a bit scared of doing it. And the one thing I didn't want to do is just go out on my own with backing tracks. I wanted to be proper musicians. I wanted to have a, you know, brass section, orchestral musicians. I wanted to have uilleann pipes, the whole thing, so that you could experience what it's like to hear the record live, but not with stuff on backing tracks, with actual musicians. And so I worked out that even if we sold out the venue and that I'd managed to book, that the gig would still make a loss. But we decided to do it anyway. And the plan was, basically, if I could turn the gig into a live album and Blu-ray, then hopefully we could make it work. And so thankfully for me, Steve Bradnam, my friend, did all the brass arrangements and got his friends to play, and we put a choir together, and we booked the venue and the video people, and I spent some of the crowdfunding money on rehearsal time and paying for the venue, and they're hiring a sound man and hiring a video recording guy. And so yeah, so we really went for it in August. Put loads of time into that, loads of rehearsal. I had to transcribe all my guitar solos and relearn them again. That was a job in itself. That took me several weeks, almost a month actually. But you know, and we managed to sell the venue out, and it honestly was one of the high points, not just of this year, but of my life. That gig. People travelled from Cornwall, from Scotland, even a few people came over from the USA to watch the gig. Wow, what a privilege. Just an amazing, amazing night. So thank you for being part of that. But despite all that, didn't really make any money on the gig. So then I realised that I needed to mix the album myself and edit the videos myself. So I then went on a course, did a series of courses to teach myself how to do it, and put 200 plus hours, basically about 2 months solid, to hit the deadline I'd set myself, which was December, to have the album out. And we managed that. But all that time, and this is part of the low points, all the time I'm spending doing that is I'm not getting any income because I'm not hustling to sell new records. It's just all, not really doing much social media. I'm just seeing my bank balance just disappear, and I'd already spent a ton of money on the gig, in the hope that when it got to December, we'd sell loads of albums and Blu-rays, and that massive hole in my finances would bounce back and we get back into the black. So that's the reality, and that's really hard, and kind of what you have to do as a musician is just really hope and believe. Plan, of course, plan as best you can, but hope and believe that it's going to work out. And so it did, and sales were great when the album came out, and the feedback's been amazing. And so we survived, and we look to keep going. All right. And all that wouldn't be possible without your support. So like I said at the start of the video, this is a video not of me complaining, it's just honestly saying the difference you make, and you've made a huge difference this year. So where are we going next? Well, I will now turn my attention to working full time on the Fellowship album that was crowdfunded. I'm hoping that is going to be out. I'm not going to commit to a date, but in the first half of next year is what I'm aiming for. I'm going to be working on that pretty much full tilt. There's some other things going on as well. I run an online guitar academy where I've had students from all over the world getting a weekly lesson on for myself, and we follow a course that's all online on composition and on guitar playing. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to be signing up new recruits for that early next year. Just email info@davebrons.com if you want to know about that. But generally, just spreading the word is the best way to help me. So if I could grow the fan base, double it next year, if each person who loved my music got one more person involved, that would make my life a lot easier. So I'm going to be looking a little bit at that next year as well, about trying to grow the fan base. But the real difficulty is time. Trying to grow the fan base is time I'm not spending doing the music, and time I'm spending the music is time I'm not doing promo on Facebook, trying to and do all that kind of stuff. So time. And thank you for spending 10 minutes of your time listening to my summary of the year. I hope you have a great 2025. Thank you for all your support. There's more music coming your way. I think this next album is going to be the best music we've ever produced. I'm really excited for you to hear it. Take care and have a good one.
Thank you so much.